Don't try to catch every rocket in the market. Every day something is going up. You cannot catch everything. So that is the first realization. Because I've seen a lot of people, when they invest in 10, 15 stocks, then they'll be like, I'll take that also. I'll take that also. By the time you realize what you have done, you have 50, 70 stocks in your portfolio and you're diversified a lot. Now, how I choose my 15 stocks is I dissect them into inevitable sectors. I call this inevitable sectors.
Inevitable sectors.
Inevitable sectors.
What does that mean?
What does this mean? That whatever happens tomorrow, this is going to happen. This will happen. For example, will we move from 5G to 6G to 7G? Has to happen. Will we move to green energy? Has to happen. Electric vehicles have to happen. Electric vehicles I've been talking about since 2021 before Tata came out with their thing, right? I said, aaj nahi to kal it has to happen. So
Correct.
why not play it? A data center today has to happen. It's not a big theme today, but it will happen in the future.
AI also has to happen.
AI has started now, right? And you see big IT companies coming into this AI workforce. So I look at first inevitable sectors. Then I look at who is going to win in these inevitable sectors, right? So this does not depend on government at all. This only depends on the future of ecosystem of the world. Macro, complete macro.
Global market forces.
Global market forces. So I said, okay, chalo. Now, if I look at that, okay, who's going to win in this space? So let's say take data center, for example. I've listed out 8 companies in the data centers that can do really well. Now I have to cut the bullshit. How many will actually do well versus how many will not do well? Every industry after a point gets consolidated to 2-3 major players.
Yeah.
Any industry you take, right?
Every industry, 2 to 3 major players.
2 to 3 major players.
Give me some examples.
So if you look at paints industry, there was one major player. You had all the others, right? Nerolac, Berger and all of that, but they're very small. But one guy held the monopoly. Now
Asian
that monopoly
Paints.
is, Asian Paints. Now other players are coming and breaking their monopoly. Look at telecom sector. There's Airtel and Jio. And there's Vodafone at a very small level. Now BSNL might come. So you take food delivery, you have 2 companies again playing.
But banks is an exception, no? HDFC
Banks is an exception.
Many
But
are there.
even if you look at banks, HDFC has the biggest pie.
HDFC and
I'm
ICICI are
saying
the winners.
The bigger pie, like I'm saying 2-3 big players will take over the entire chunk. Now, even if you look at green energy, if you look at Tata and JSW, who are betting, and Adani, 3 companies, right? They're taking most of the big orders. And even if government orders are coming, they're taking it. Now, there are small players, I'm not saying no. But they're so small that they get stuck after a point. The ceiling is capped for them.
This is a very interesting learning for me because a lot of people would look at investing like I'll invest in a smaller company, which can become a very big company.
Yeah.
This is a very different way of looking at it. That once a company has established its foothold and has built very deep moats for itself, it'll just keep getting bigger and bigger.
Yes. So I'll tell you when that theory comes into correct perspective, right? When I buy a small company, it will become a big company. That has to be a completely new player in a new sector, in a new environment completely.
Like
right?
a food delivery startup.
Like a food delivery. It was never there. But a random guy came, 2 people came, as more than 2 people were there. Food Panda also was there at one point.
Uber Eats was there.
Uber Eats was there. They killed everything and only 2 survived. Now that bet is hard. So if you look at the stock market today and say, I have identified 10 players that can become multi-baggers tomorrow, out of that only 1 might actually do it. Because tomorrow, if there is enough money in the game, in that game, Reliance will usually come, Adani will come, or somebody will come and take over the entire space. And then you're gone.
So let's say, okay, I understood this. So step 1, identify inevitable sectors.
Yes.
In that sector, you look at 8 to 10 companies which stand to win.
Yes.
And now you are also making this bet that, not bet, based on historical performance, you are noticing that in every industry, 1 or 2 companies take away majority of the market share.
Yes.
Now your job is to identify from those 8 or 10 companies, which are those 1 or 2 companies which will win and take majority of the market share.
Exactly.
Now can you go deep dive into this?
Yes. Now I'll give you an example, right? So let's say the energy sector. I don't want to go too deep into names, but I'll talk about surface level. Now energy I feel is inevitable. Today, if you look at the data, we are heavily a coal dependent nation. Almost 50% of our power comes from thermal energy and coal. And India hates that because we have to import coal. There's a lot of cost. So we're going into green energy.
Plus, India has a goal of becoming 50% green energy by 2030.
Yes.
So it has to, inevitable.
And 2047, they're saying was almost.
Correct.
So one of the companies came out and one of the major players, right? The 2 big players, one of them came out and said, by 2047, we will have only green energy, renewable energy sources. We will not have coal, thermal and all. We're shutting everything down because in green energy, your margins are almost 30% EBITDA, whereas in thermal, it was 6-7% EBITDA.
What is EBITDA?
Your earnings before interest, tax and depreciation. Means margins are more, in short.
Basically, for simplicity, it's profits.
Profits are more. If profits are more, cash is more. If cash is more, stock price goes up faster.
Okay.
Simple, right? So what I did was I understood this basic logic. Okay, this company is going to win. But what are they now doing to win? Are they passive or are they active? Then you start going into investor reports and you start looking at interviews of the CEOs. What are the CEOs saying? So the CEO was like, we are putting 2,000 crores for expansion. We are putting 5,000 crores in the next 3 years for expansion. They made a 7-year roadmap. I'm like, okay, this is a legit company, 7-year roadmap. Now, obviously, everything is possible, probable, right? But if it happens, then my map is ready to win. So I start taking a position right now for 7 years, not 2-3 years. But in 7 years, that compounded would be crazy. Because when the theme kicks in, when those margins kick in, the profit goes up, share price goes up, everything goes up, and it becomes a beautiful
So this is one energy company that you're talking
one
about.
energy company, for example, right?
But a lot of companies can make this announcement. No, I'll become green energy by this year. But how do you know
they do
that?
it. Even today, there are small companies, big companies, all doing it. So this is where the founder's worth comes into it. As I said, I look at the interviews of the founder, I understand. So this is a group company. And if it's a group company, it's even better. For example, there's Tata Group, Adani Group, and JSW Group.
Group means they are a conglomerate.
Meaning
They have a big parent company
Yes.
and multiple subsidiaries.
Yes. So for them, face is more important. They cannot come and lie to you on the face saying, I will give you 2,000 crore investment. I'm going to do 2,000 crore and tomorrow they can't come and say sorry. So you know it's going to happen. Maryade will go. And analysts in the market will belt you, right? So if you have a group backing company, either Apollo Group or this group or Murugappa Group, that's why you see group companies tend to do predominantly well. And these group companies also expand everywhere.
Correct.
Even if you see Reliance, they've expanded everywhere. Adani's gone everywhere. Tata's gone everywhere. And wherever they see money, they're going and putting a hand in.
And plus, if one of the small companies doesn't do well, the group can support it.
Support it, yes. They fund it, support it, and do it.
Yeah.
So when you ask me, I'm looking at a multi-bagger today. Okay, I have invested in that multi-bagger, which I feel is a 15-year play, not a 5-10 year play. Inevitable 15-year play. After 15 years, this will give returns. But it's a very kutty company today. But it is a group-holded company.
So you have that kind of an investment right now.
It's a micro cap. It's not even a small cap.
This is one of your 15 stocks.
One of my 15 stocks that I'm investing for my son. Hopefully when he's 15, he should get a lot of money from this.
Yeah.
Or else I'm screwed.
This is like your future HDFC kind of an investment.
Yes. For me, I look at it as an inevitable sector in the future. I see that would I be doing something like this in the future? I said yes, I would. I asked a few guys. They all said they would. So that is a sector that would be inevitable. And it has group backing. And that group is, I'm tracking it. They're putting money into this company and saying we're investing 600 crores, 800 crores, 1,000 crores that way.
Plus, you also have access to people, smart people who can also give you some advice here
I
and
ask people. I track the private markets. I track the public markets. Moreover, I track US markets and I track a lot of China markets as well.
Okay.
So Chinese news is very difficult to come. So I read a lot of Bloomberg Asia. Right. I look at some Chinese local news also to understand what's happening there. Japan also is something that I track. Why? Because what is happening there eventually cascades to the entire earth, right? I mean, it goes to US, it goes to India, it goes everywhere. For example, in China, they've moved away from lithium-ion battery, which we're still so widely saying lithium-ion. They've gone to something else only. They've made it much efficient, much better and all of that. Eventually, it'll come here.
What is that something else?
I think it's cadmium now. They've gone to something else. I don't know exactly, but I know that they've gone to something else which gives a higher efficiency. I recently read a news where the battery outlasts even a Tesla battery. So it's that good.
So they have come up with some better technology.
Some better technology, some better utilization of resources, right? Not lithium ion. They've gone ahead of that. Obviously, it has to be the same. So if that comes to India, somebody will do it. Some entrepreneur will get up and do it. So you understand who's doing it here in this market. Buy that and sit down.
So you're studying global markets and what's happening in these other developed economies to kind of predict the future for India itself.
Yes. Yes. I always do that. I don't believe in buying in FOMO and buying right now for this. I always keep a futuristic logic of 3-4 years, even when I do momentum and swing trades, right? Which is heavily dependent on, let's say, this government, like defense, as I told you.
Before that, can you list the news channels or sources that you go through for keeping yourself updated about the markets?
Yeah. So one is definitely Bloomberg. Bloomberg Asia is what I look at.
Is that paid?
Bloomberg Asia is paid. There's a hack. If you want me to tell you a hack, I can tell you how to get free.
I think Bloomberg will
legally, without any problems. So you can go to the Canada website of Bloomberg and paste the same thing. You get it for free. Because Canada there has a tie-up with Bloomberg saying we cannot do paid stuff in Canada. So the exact same link, just paste it in Google and write Canada Bloomberg. You get the same link completely open.
Okay. Otherwise, how much are you saving by doing this hack?
Thousands of dollars, bro. I think almost 5,000-10,000 rupees I would save by just doing this.
Every year?
Every year. Wow. I don't take the subscription. So I just go there and get it out from there.
So this is Bloomberg?
Bloomberg for Asian news, right? Wall Street Journal for US.
You read that?
I read Wall Street Journal. It's Economist and Wall Street Journal are amazing. Okay, when it comes to macroeconomics, I look very closely at what's happening with special situations like war. I always look at things like who's going to win. Like who's going to win as in why is this happening? There's always money involved. So if Russia, Ukraine is going on for so long, something is playing out there, right? So it was for the Red Sea and